welcome to Youth in Agriculture. My name is Marion Munyao Unganga. Now, when you hear me talking about doing whatever we talk on this show in your balcony, this is exactly what is happening here in Utawala. Mercy Monene is the farmer of today, and she is doing a lot on vertical gardening and landscaping. Interesting story. Can't wait to hear more from her. For now, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, subscribe, like, and follow our page at KTN Home _ and also me at Marion _ the Agri Producer. Now, let's go and have an amazing show kama kawaida. Mercy, karibu sana kwenye show.
Thank you.
I feel like ningekwambia welcome back, but this is your first time here on this show, and thank you so much for creating time for us. Now, tell us about Shamba Connect.
So Shamba Connect is a company that deals with three things. Number one, we are involved in urban farming. That is kitchen gardens, small space gardens, and landscaping. And then secondly, we are involved in rabbit farming. So we do that for commercial purposes. We sell the meat, we sell the breeders, we sell the skin, the urine, and the manure. And then thirdly, we are involved in seedling propagation. Yes.
Interested about seedling propagation, and I like what you said, land utilization.
Yes.
What exactly you've done? What are the kind of setups that you have on your farm?
We have different setups. We have the balcony setup, so that's if someone has only space on the balcony, we have a plan for you. If you have only space on a wall, we have a garden for you. If you have only space, if you have your own space, we have also gardens that are designed for you. So we basically design our gardens based on the size of your space, your personal style, and also your budget.
And why call it Shamba Connect?
Shamba Connect was a name that came from a long way.
What were you
So
connecting?
basically, we're giving everyone an access to fresh vegetables in your backyard. So we're basically connecting you to the Shamba in your urban space.
Okay, now talking about the urban space, is this something that you envisioned of doing when you were young? Where did all this idea come from?
So it came from my own struggle with anemia, which was because I didn't have access to fresh organic vegetables. So what happened is I would take these vegetables, as they say, but because of the exposure to the weather and all that, and how it has been grown, it meant that the amount of nutrients in that vegetable was gone. By the time I was consuming it, like many of us Kenyans think that when we eat vegetables, as long as we're eating vegetables, it's giving us the nutrients required. But you need to realize that how it's been grown, how it's been prepared, and how it lands on your table really affects the amount of nutrients on it. You find that if it's grown in an environment where it's full of fertilizers and pesticides and all these things, by the time you're harvesting it, the amount of nutrients have gone down. And this is based on research that has been done years ago. So that is how I ended up growing my own vegetables and returning my iron levels.
And we are
now
happy that you have returned back to normal.
Yes, yes. And now I realized one of the key things that you can be able to use to ensure that we have the optimum nutrients in our bodies, especially the vitamins and the iron, is through having organic gardens. And where do we find that in Nairobi?
Shamba Connect.
Thank you for that. We rarely find that.
Definitely.
Because in urban spaces, we only have space for, buildings. You find everywhere a new building is cropping up. And what we now realize is that there was a gap when it comes to how can we access our food. If you look at Nairobi, we rarely have food that is grown in Nairobi. In fact, they say that 97% of the food that we consume in Nairobi has been grown outside. So by the time that food is harvested and brought to Nairobi, how it is taken to the market and how it finally lands in your kitchen and on your table affects the nutrition. Yes.
You're so passionate about urbanization. Did you grow up in an urban center?
Well, yes, let me say a semi-urban area where we had both sides of the experience.
Watoto wanai.
Exactly. Well, I don't know whether I'll call myself from Nairobi, but we had access to vegetables. But now when I came to Nairobi, I found that the taste of the food in Nairobi is very different.
How different?
Like we could access where I grew up.
Yes.
We could be able to access fresh vegetables, the tereres, the managus. We could always have it from the garden straight to the kitchen and on our plates. But now here you have to go to the markets, you buy it, and you don't know where this food was grown.
Oh yeah,
so
that's another thing.
And again, with all the news about, you know, the sanitation hazards you're having.
Exactly.
A lot of things came to my mind, and I decided, you know what, it's safest that I grow my food.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and look at you right now. Where did you start?
In my own balcony.
Amazing. I like that answer. Was it this big? Was this the same balcony?
No. It was not this balcony. I think I had struggled to a really big extent. I decided, someone told me, why don't you grow your own vegetables? And I was like, what? Can this work? I just, you know, the way you see other people doing it.
Yeah.
I went and took some bottles, I cut them up, I put some soil, I grew some spinach.
So you are wondering, can I really grow my own food? This idea, I mean, it scared you. Are like, how do you start? How do I start from? But what was your biggest question? Is it the knowledge? Is it the how-to or the input? Where do I get the seeds? Or the weather itself? What was indeed the biggest hurdle that you saw that you're going to face?
It was multifaceted. I think my biggest challenge was, where would I find the inputs?
Exactly.
Is it the soil, the manure? Because at our home, we grow food using manure. Where would I find manure? Where would I find soil? Where would I find, you know, the media and also the, you know, the sun, the temperature? Who would have the time to start watering? We are so busy in Nairobi.
Not even that. Do we even have water?
Oh yeah, do we have water?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think the moment you decide to do something, somehow things line up. Things will align and you'll be able to achieve what it is that you have planned to do.
Yeah.
So slowly, my first step was to get a bottle. So Shamba connected with a bottle.
You stop it.
Yeah, so we started with a bottle.
I think that's so funny. Okay, and then?
With the bottle, then we got the soil, then we got the manure, then we got the other inputs, and then slowly we built it up to be something that was admirable by the neighbors and my friends who would come to visit. And so when they started asking, can you do this for me also? Can you do this for me? So I thought, and why not turn this into something that I can, you know, do for money? Yeah.
Is that chicken yours from your farm?
Yes.
Oh, so you also have chicken in Shamba
Yes,
Connect?
I do.
We're going to see them in a few. But before we get to that, which plants did you start with and which ones are you doing right now?
I started with spinach. I think because spinach is said to be one of the vegetables with the highest iron nutrients. Yeah. And then again, spinach is very versatile. It can grow in many places. Yeah. And its survival rate is quite high.
What are you doing right now? Which plants are you growing right now?
Currently, I'm growing cucumbers, spinach, skuma, terere, managu, herbs.
Look at you growing all those from a water bottle.
Yes.
I mean, that is growth. That is indeed growth. Talk about how the process starts. In terms of the propagation process, where do you get your seeds from? And do you source the seedlings from certified seedling propagators? Or do you prefer to bring your own seeds to seedlings, then you come and do the transplantation? One of the challenges I faced was putting all the inputs required for a kitchen garden together. So you find that I have the skills, but I don't have the soil or the manure or the other inputs that we normally mix inside the soil. So that's how I decided to do most of the things myself, so that I reduce the logistical costs of constantly ordering from other suppliers. But also, I have the demand for seedlings is quite high, so I supplement my seedlings with those from other certified propagators. Yeah. Do you sell your own seedlings as well? Yes, I sell my seedlings. Oh. But the demand is quite high, so I normally have to also get from other suppliers. Exactly. Now talk about what are the ingredients, what are the requirements when it comes to seedling propagation? You think you need the media. The media. Which one do you use, sorry? Well, I have a mix of things. I mix in different proportions. Cocoa peat, peat moss, vermiculates. Depends on the
plants.
Yes. Apart from the medium, what else?
I need water, definitely. I need some inputs, like the ones that would help it to grow. So I use some organic, like rabbit urine. I use different inputs to get it to that level of transplanting.
And how long does it take for them to be in the the greenhouse itself?
Generally it takes 3 weeks, but 3 to 4 weeks is what would be ready for transplanting.
Hey, I like that, but I want us to talk about transplantation after the short commercial break. Remember, we are here in Utawala talking about land utilization, doing vertical garden, doing landscaping, doing everything to do with utilizing your land to the maximum. Keep it within agriculture, don't go away. Welcome back to Youth in Agriculture. If you've just joined us, we're talking about land utilization, we're talking about landscaping, vertical gardening here in Utawala, together with Mercy Monene, who is a rabbit farmer, but also she does a lot on vegetable gardening, which she says that it helped her overcome her anemia. Interesting story, right? Mercy, karibu tena kwenye show.
Thank you.
Now, on the first part of the show, you mentioned about how you do the seedling propagation. After the 4 weeks, we propagate. After the 4 weeks, we transplant. Yes. Now, what is next? What is that process?
The process of transplanting, we use media which helps them to not experience the shock of transplanting. Because if you were to just remove a plant from here and just go and plant it somewhere else, there's a difference in terms of the climate, the timing. They actually get shock. It's like moving you from where you live to a totally different place. It takes some time for you to acclimatize to the new environment and to start now taking the nutrients from that place. So that is what the plants also go through. They go through some certain stress. So how we are able to reduce the amount of stress is by ensuring that we use a media so that by the time we are transplanting it, it already has its own environment. So that by the time you're transplanting it, it doesn't go through a lot of shock. Isishtuke sana.
Isipigwe character development.
You know, some of them have been, we raise them in very optimum conditions.
In a buggy environment. Moja kali hapo vertical garden. Ishangae huku ni wapi?
Where it gets water like once a day.
Exactly.
And on the other side, it was used to getting water 3 times or twice a day.
By the way, now that you've mentioned, is it important to maybe unaanza kuzoeshea plant mapema before you transplant them so that they don't die?
Yeah, we take them through hardening. So while in the propagation unit, there's a time when they're now growing, then they get to a point where they're now going through hardening. To prepare themselves for the hard conditions.
Vitu kwa ground, literally. You've mentioned that you have a lot of plants. You have the spinach, of course, and other vegetables that we can see on the background. Is it important to plant them together in one system?
We plant some of our plants together so that they can work together. They help each other. For example, if you are to plant beans next to sukuma wiki or spinach, they help in fixing nitrogen into the soil. Vegetative plants like spinach and sukuma wiki normally require a lot of nitrogen for them to look all lush and green, and so that helps. We also plant our food together with herbs such as celery, dania, and such other herbs, because they help to ward off pests such as aphids and armyworms and such.
Speaking of systems, which kind of systems do you have here?
We have different types of vertical gardens. We have the wall garden, we have a vertical garden, a staircase garden. We also have a cone garden and hydroponic gardens and other types of small space gardens.
Okay, and how many plants can those ones hold as compared to planting commercially, conventionally? That's the word, on the ground, flat.
That's very different because first of all, it saves you on water when you use the vertical systems because all the water that comes from one level goes to the other one. And then again, they don't have the direct effect of getting affected by pests.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a specific reason why farmers go for wall gardens at the gate or at the entrance? Tell me, because all of you do that.
The wall gardens are very attractive to the eye. So I think many people would want to have that. So that as you get in, you can be able to get your vegetables as you get into the house.
Anyway, that's a clever answer. What are the challenges that you face?
The challenges that we face are climatic conditions for everyone. And this is because of the global warming that we are all experiencing at one level or another. So you find that with the global warming, the weather conditions are not the same that you were used to when you were younger. So you find that today it's raining for 3 weeks, then it stops for another 3 weeks. So the plants are not used to that. They go through a lot of shock, and because of that climate. So we try as much as possible to mimic the original climate that was supposed to be. So by watering them, by giving them the nutrients required, by ensuring that they don't get affected so much by the pests, but also there's so much opportunity for us to take back our climate through how we manage our ground.
What are your other challenges that you face?
As an entrepreneur, I think.
As an agripreneur.
As an agripreneur.
Yes.
Okay. Some of the challenges that we face as agripreneurs is you want to expand, but the capital to expand is limited. So you basically have to bootstrap. And if you start bootstrapping, you find that your level of expansion will be definitely affected by the speed of execution and all that. Will be affected by how fast you're able to move because of lack of capital. And I think also brokers affect our work because you find that any farmer would work very hard. And before the plants are ready, you find that the market is going at half the cost of what you have grown. So there's that issue of brokers, but also the challenge of the competition, which affects everyone in every sphere. So what we try to do to manage that is to take charge of our value chains. Because you find that if you are the farmer, if you compare the farmer and the broker will definitely make much more than the actual farmer. So we train our farmers to be able to take care of their value chain from the point of farming to the point of the market. So we are currently working with different suppliers to see how we can be able to access that. Just streamline the whole process so that the farmer is able to access the markets. Yes.
And why is it that farmers are not able to access the market themselves? Is it that the markets are too far, or is it an infrastructure problem?
I think that is a multifaceted challenge because first you'd find that a farmer would not have the knowledge. So they just wake up in the morning and see their neighbors growing cabbages, then they get to the farm and start farming cabbages. So what happens? After 3 months, as you're taking your cabbages to the market, your neighbor already harvested and took them to the market at a way cheaper price. Then secondly, there's the issue of scale. We are working with so many small-scale farmers. I think if we would work together, there is so much that you can be able to save up on, so that by the time you're taking your product to the market, you have already saved a lot in terms of the logistical costs. Because I have seen that currently when we work together, we collaborate, like the actual farmer, the logistics involved, and all these things. If you put them together, by the time you're taking it to the market, you are at a better place. Yes.
Of course, we have to talk about the numbers. What are your profit margins looking like?
It's definitely better than doing conventional farming. In Nairobi, there's a demand for growing vegetables in a limited space. People have moved to Nairobi with no access to fresh food. And with the economy, we have to find a way to make this money, even the people who live in their own places. So that creates a lot of demand for growing vegetables and as well as landscaping. So you find that you want to have a beautiful space, but your space is very limited. What can you do? I would like to say that as young people, we have many opportunities around us to make money for ourselves. And so one of the ways that you can be able to create a resource for ourselves is look at what you have around you, what's in your hand, look at the space we have around us. We can be able to, from the smallest thing, even grow your own vegetables. First of all, it helps you to save on money that you would otherwise have used, and also it creates employment and creates a whole movement where we can be able to recapture our climate back. I think we all have an opportunity to make a change where we are.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode. For me, I have learned a lot. Number one, we need to hold each other's hands. Hii mambo ya neighbor napanda cabbage, mimi pia nataka kupanda cabbage, it really won't do us good, because we really need to work together. Kama mwenzako napanda cabbage, wewe panda sukuma, at least so that you can have good market. Tusifanye competition tafadhali, to minimize kidogo kidogo, so that at least we can all benefit from the agriculture value chain. Remember, if you want us to come to your farm, you see the social media handles down on your screen. Kindly to DM, talk to us, tuambie uko wapi, unafanya nini, unapanda nini, unafuga nini, and we will be right there. And see you next week, same time, same place. My name is Marion Munyao Nganga, and goodbye.